and welcome to Nostalgic Nick-Nacks. My name's Ryan, and this is my retro gaming perler beating YouTube channel. Thanks so much for being here. Today, I just got some thoughts about two really fantastic games that are indies, and they're so much more than just indies. They are full-fledged, over 20-hour games, RPGs. I really enjoyed my time with them. RFL and Rise of the Third Power. So I'm going to talk about the gameplay of these games. I'm going to talk about the pixel art, which is a highlight for me. And I'm also going to talk about the story. No spoilers here, just a little introduction. And my overall, what I take away from these games. Because I am more of a retro gamer, so I'm looking for games that match that feeling that I felt back in my childhood with the 16-bit games and the 8-bit games. Games like Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy IV, Chrono Trigger. These games are very similar. So first up, RFL. RFL was the first game created by this company, and the company's name is Stegosoft Games. Like a stegosaurus and sort of like square soft. And they just kind of put that together, I'm guessing. That sounds pretty neat. I love their logo, the little stegosaurus. RFL is modeled after 16-bit JRPGs of the past, with sort of medieval elements to it, where you have elves, you have other creatures, and you have this fantasy world that has people living on this floating continent. Does that sound familiar? If you've played Chrono Trigger, if you played Xenogears, it's right up there. The visuals are absolutely stunning. The pixel art is fantastic. It's just unbelievable how well they were able to do with the pixel art, not just of the characters, but of the little items and the houses themselves when you go into different locations. The battle sprites, the enemy sprites, all the tiny details when characters embrace, when characters are hurt. There's so many different expressions through the sprite work. The locations, the forests, icy places, desert-like areas, and more. And so much care went into all of that as well. All of that pixel art, the backgrounds, the like a sunset, sunrise. If the pixel art of this game isn't the shining star, the story really is where it's at. The gameplay is actually really fun. It's turn-based battling, and you have abilities that you learn. It's pretty traditional, but it's just so fun and engaging, and everything seems to be hitting the right marks. And going back to storytelling, from the beginning to the end, I was really hooked with this game. They have very well done side quests that don't seem like just fetch quests. They were side quests that add to the story. And I love just seeing how the characters develop through the story. Just really amazing stuff here. Your main character of RFL she's fantastic, and you learn about her and the character she starts the game out with, which is she's sort of the archer, and the guy that she's with is a swordsman, knight character. And then you meet some other characters as you go through the game. But just unbelievable. I really loved my time with RFL. And now I want to talk about Rise of the Third Power. Now, this is the second game by Stegosoft Games. I'm going to go over visuals first. Again, it's very well done. The pixel art in this game is even better than RFL. The game, as far as the story goes, is more of a realistic take on things. So their first game, fantasy, and now they've got a realistic war that's happening between different nations. And with this war, of course, your characters are thrust into the middle of it. One of the characters actually is a princess. You find that out pretty quick in the game. You actually have a larger cast than RFL did. The story is really well done. A lot of twists and turns throughout it. I think it had an epic story. Really epic. The music is so good. The battle themes are not too repetitive at all. And then you have the music that fades in and out at different climactic story moments. It's just really well done. The gameplay of Rise of the Third Power is a bit different from RFL. In RFL, you actually have your HP and MP restored after each battle, which was very handy. In Rise of the Third Power, you have to have healing items that will recover your HP and MP. And so it was a bit more traditional in that respect. The fighting was quite a bit different. The battle sprites were bigger, and you have 3 characters at a time. In RFL, you could have 4 characters on the screen. There was a bit more of a rhythm with those battles, but with Rise of the Third Power, you could actually switch out characters. You had a lot more characters, and you could switch them in the middle of battle, which was handy, kind of like Final Fantasy X. But towards the latter part of the game, the difficulty really ramped up with battles. You could do this thing where you put it on easy mode, which adds an option in your battle menu. It just immediately kills off all the enemies. It's kind of a cheat, really. It's for anybody who's more of a casual gamer that is trying to just see the story of the game, which I respect that they have that. In the same note, they do have very, very hard. I do think there were some balancing issues, though. I found that in the latter part of the game with some of the bosses, they were unbelievably hard. And I had leveled up my characters quite a bit. I guess I needed to do more grinding. But I think that overall there needs to be some more balancing towards the latter part of the game. A big flaw in Rise of the Third Power, my really only gripe in the game, is I actually had my game crash on me towards the end in a pivotal battle. And it said, game has crashed. And I had to reset the game. Not a big deal, but if I have been fighting this enemy for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, I would have been upset about that. It only happened once, but be aware of that. Rise of the Third Power really brought me back to Final Fantasy VI. The character models, the different plot points at times seem to be very inspired by Final Fantasy VI. Something about both of these games I was really impressed with was the fact that I didn't really have to do any searching online for how to get from point A to point B. They did a really great job of that. Everything seemed to fit just right. I can tell that they put time and effort into making these stories not just make sense, but have emotional impact, have a journey that you go on. Every decision made sense. every single character had character development. And that really brought me back to Chrono Trigger, where you have some great character development. Brought me back to Final Fantasy VI, where you have that development. You see all of these characters grow in some way. So I really respected that. They did a great job. If you're looking for cinematic storytelling from the first story beat to the last, they really do pull out all the stops. You're gonna laugh. There will be emotional moments. I really enjoyed the story in both games, and the visuals are what just kept me really interested. Sprite work, the animations, the care that went into these games. This is a small studio, and they cranked out some powerhouse RPGs. I'm very impressed with them. I can't wait to see what's in the future for these guys. I think I got both of mine for I think I got RFL for $5 and on the Switch eShop, and Rise of the Third Power was about $15. So thanks so much for watching my video today on these two games. Stay tuned for more retro content, and have a great day. Until next time, keep it retro.